In a country known for its beauty, one great walk at the end of Highway 6 in New Zealand stands tall amongst the giants. It was over 100 years ago today that the London Spectator described it as the finest walk in the world. And now, after traveling halfway around the world, we head down to Fjordland National Park on South Island in New Zealand to see the Milford Track.
Right now, I'm just getting used to driving on the different side of the road after a very long 30-hour plane ride here. But the weather is great. It's not going to be great the whole time, but look at what we have around us, and we're just getting started. So hopefully you can join us. We're going to have some fun.
So come with me to South New Zealand with my motley crew as we take on the Milford Track. We'll take you through the ups and guide you through this amazing adventure day by day as we hike the 4-day journey over 30 miles on the mighty Milford Track. So buckle up and let's get started. The over 30-mile track zigs and zags through the nearly 5,000 square mile park in this pristine Southwest New Zealand World Heritage Area. Just to give some scale about how truly enormous this park is, it's a park whose area is larger than Qatar, Jamaica, or Lebanon. The hike is broken out into 4 days and 3 nights, each night ending in a New Zealand Park System maintained hut. The first part is rather short, followed by a longer, flatter day 2, and a massive elevation gain and descent on day 3. That one's the hard one. And finally, a long, flat departure hike on day 4. But I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. Let's start at the beginning as we head towards Te Anau and the Milford Sound.
How do you feel about driving?
Overwhelmed, horrified, out of place, and ready to party.
Okay, pause. First, yes, we are Americans, so I wasn't used to driving on the left side. But our journey started way before we stepped foot on the plane, or waited with a bunch of hikers at the airport. I'm talking nearly a year back, all the way in June, when the New Zealand Department of Conservation released a very limited amount of Milford Track tickets to the public through the reservation system that we snagged up right away. So figured I'd lay that groundwork before heading back to Te Anau, the gateway to Fjordland National Park, and where we stopped by the visitor center to check into our trek tomorrow and pick up our tickets for the camps along the way.
We just checked in at the visitor center where we were able to let them know that we're there. Very lucky to be able to get into the Milford Track because it does require a reservation almost a year in advance. But tomorrow's our day. The weather is not going to be quite as nice when we head off on the Milford Track, but we'll enjoy it while we have it.
So as we anticipate our 4-day journey, we head out to check out the stunning views of Fjordland National Park, seeing lounging animals basking between the towering fjords and crystal blue water racing down the drawn mountains, to getting one last meal in the gorgeous town of Te Anau before heading to our room to pack our bags, which, in case you were wondering, is full of plenty to get us through the 4 days. Let me try my best to break it down, including phones, socks, shirts, cameras, batteries, walking sticks, and okay, I can't keep up, but I did a good job here of showing it broken down. But it's been a few minutes in, so let's get on to day 1, where we hike a short distance to our first camp in Clinton Hut.
On our way right now to the Milford Track. The way to get there is you got to rent a boat. So we are on the boat right now, heading towards day 1. The weather looks interesting. Day 1 should be really easy. It's only a 5-kilometer hike to our first hut. So we'll have a lot of time to relax, check out the environment. But day 2 and day 3 are going to be interesting. The weather gets a little crazy. And day 3, which is supposed to be the hardest hike, is going to be it's going to be rainy and windy. So we hope we avoid it, but we'll see how it's going to go. So we'll enjoy the sun while we get a chance. We'll enjoy this awesome boat ride there, check out the mountains around Milford, and jump on the track, but it is going to be an interesting hike.
It's the largest freshwater lake in the southern hemisphere, and it is gorgeous.
Beautiful fjords, the water extremely clear. It is the deepest lake, I believe in the southern hemisphere. So whilst the water was extremely clear, it just like goes down forever and ever.
Over 1,300 feet deep, 400 meters to be exact. But it's the mountains rising above us nearly 9,000 feet, 2,700 meters, that really catches your eye.
I think that's our trailhead, I'd assume. But I don't know what it's called. Probably should know that. He'll tell me later, I'm sure.
Yeah, he's right, I will. But as the narrator, I also got to look that up after the boat ride. Right there at the end of Lake Tianu is Glade Wharf, where we will depart from the boat on our one-way journey through the Milford Track and start our relatively easy hike along the Clinton River to our first hut, the aptly named Clinton Hut.
We first got off of the boat onto the island. It felt very remote, like it was just us, an island just for us. And we went on a short 5-kilometer walk, but it was absolutely gorgeous. And one of the first things that we crossed was this very long bridge that crossed a river that was just crystal clear blue and green, and you could see the fish and the eels.
Hey, it's me, the narrator again, and I'm just gonna go ahead and pause it right there. Yes, she said eels, no need to rewind. Not only is the river water crystal clear and home to things you might expect, like fish, but it's also home to the long-finned eel, an endangered species of freshwater eel that can grow between 3 and 6 feet in length and live up to 100 years. So if you ever do this hike in your lifetime, make sure to say hi to this guy. All right, enough learning, let's get back to the track.
I mean, it was just stunning right from the get-go.
Sun is shining. Couldn't be a better day, and it's been pretty amazing so far.
The weather is perfect today. It feels like it's maybe 65 degrees. It feels kind of damp, and it smells just fresh, like hasn't been tainted by anything yet. It's just beautiful. And there's lots of really cute birds everywhere, which is a bonus.
Cute birds like this tiny South Island robin, which isn't just not afraid of humans, it will actively approach you if you stand still long enough. So let me linger on this bird, not only because it's cool, but it's incredibly unique to New Zealand. If you've seen some of my videos before, you know sometimes you run into some dicey animals.
Hey, bear!
But not in New Zealand. In fact, the largest mammal before humans came here were bats, so no scary wolves or bears to worry about out here. That's why birds like the kiwi can exist, and a bird like this is so friendly. Mammals historically have not been a threat.
There's not a lot of bats here anymore because they're being critically endangered because of invasive species.
Humans have since brought many mammals to the islands, but none have been more destructive to the birds here than the stoat, a kind of weaselly mongoose thing.
In fact, you see traps for some of the varmint all over here because they're trying their best to get rid of these before they get rid of some of these critically endangered birds and bats, and really keep this national park full of the wildlife that makes it special.
Okay, enough about this rabbit hole, which is also an invasive species, and back to the track.
What an amazing day. We were right here in front of the Clifton River, which is super clear. I mean, it is like emerald, green, turquoise. Really an easy hike today. 5 kilometers to the hut, and beautiful weather. We're gonna get to the hut probably by around noon, so it'll be a day for us just to relax before we go to the real hard parts for the next 2 days. What's cool about day one is we get to meet all the folks that are gonna be with us the next 4 days on this hike. We know that there's 40 bunks, so there's gonna be 40 people. And so far we've met people from Germany, from New Zealand, from England, from the US, really all over. And some of them found out they were making a video and they're like, we'd like to be part of it. So, hey, they're gonna be talking throughout this as well. And you get to hear perspectives from a whole bunch of different people, not just from us blowhards the whole time.
It's really only day one that will allow us to just relax and take in the views of the Clinton River. But it's on this day where you really just let nature take over all your senses.
We just took a side detour to explore these wetlands, and this is not what I expected to come out on the other side. Lots of different trees, lots of diverse landscapes, and it's breathtaking.
And looking up in the forest, we see we are being watched by a beautiful green New Zealand pigeon. Although their conservation status are considered of least concern, they are conservation dependent to keep their abundance.
Well, we have made it to Clinton Hut, the end of day 1. It's about 2:50 in the afternoon, so we have a long time to just chill out, get to know each other a little bit, see a few of our fellow trekkers.
It's like summer camp, a little bit. And according to this guy, they're very nice accommodations with mattresses and very clean.
Way more than we expected. At least I expected.
I had no expectations, so it's really hard to...
There's a comfy bed to sleep in, there's a roof.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. And there's a place to cook food. What's there to complain about?
Not a thing.
Not a damn thing.
So tonight we just claimed our bunks and we're ready to go on a 6-hour hike to the Mintaro Hut tomorrow. We'll see what the weather holds and hopefully have rest and have a great night for a good day tomorrow.
I can sleep out here. It would take a lot of planning to be an axe murderer on this island. Yeah, I know.
I don't know. I think I've seen a movie that follows the same plot, so.
Yeah, see, so I don't watch those movies because otherwise I could not do this hike.
I don't watch those movies either.
I can't handle it.
I don't like scary movies.
We're gonna walk into like a den of cannibals or something.
As we made new friends from around the globe and the last rays of sunlight came through the mountains, we took advantage of the gas-powered kitchen at the Clinton Hut to cook our first freeze-dried feast.
Looks pretty good. Not as good as Italian-style beef marinara.
Mixed veggies, scrambled eggs, mixed with top ramen, and of course topped with the Gouda cheese.
That night brought us a moon halo, which is supposed to be good luck, and guided the path for a fun night phenomena.
Our guide has told us that if we wait until it's dark, like it is right now, and we go down to the left on the path, there is like a log or like a cliff or something with glowworms that live in it. They are like the larvae of some kind of bug, and if we go and we keep our lights off of them, we'll see some glowing phosphorescence. So excited.
It almost felt like, after a day full of specter and beautiful views, that the glowworms were just overkill. But seeing them visible to the naked eye, and here in my long exposure camera, put a cherry on top of a perfect first day. A day that, as it turns out, would not be an omen for good weather, as our ranger warned us that the 11-mile trek to the Mintaro Hut would be the beginning of a multi-day rainstorm, and an early start might help avoid the absolute worst. So before the sun even rose, we headed off for the first long hike of the Milford Track trail. A hike that would start in the lush forest along the Clinton River and slowly rise in elevation as we enter a sprawling valley at the base of the pass.
So we started at the hut. We got an early start, so we left about 7:30, but we got up about 6.
Well, the sun is out now. We're walking this 17 or so kilometers to the second Mintaro Hut. And the weather's perfect. If we can keep the weather up like this, we're gonna have a great day today. We know it's probably not gonna be like this tomorrow, but we can sneak in one more day of good weather. That's a W.
Even with a bit of light rain, the dense canopy of the temperate rainforest would provide cover, at least for a bit. The trail weaved from forest to open views along the Clinton River.
Weather so far is absolutely perfect. I wish it would stay like this all day, but we know that it's not going to, so we're just gonna soak it in for as long as we possibly can.
As the clouds thickened toward the end of our Clinton River section as we headed toward the valley, we saw the river begin to pick up as we felt the mist in the air as it started to cool with the approaching storm.
Dropped like 10 minutes ago, but that was like 10 minutes ago, so.
It's just the sweat falling off
But I can feel it, like sense it. As a rain whisperer, I know it's coming.
A rain
Is that what they're called? People with those rods?
That's water dowsing, and they're called water dowsers.
This is such an old forest, and even though this place gets about 200 days of rain a year, you can tell it's ready for it. I mean, look, the entire floor is basically a sponge. Everywhere you look, although there's not a lot of like big, like bushes or anything on the bottom, It's covered with this moss and this sponge-like materials, which I'm sure I'll be more specific on in narration. But everything is a sponge. So you can tell that when it does rain here, it just sucks it up and it's ready for it. And it's so pretty. Every inch of this forest is like it's alive and breathing and just waiting for that water.
For most of the morning, we hiked through relatively flat and meandering rainforest with green walls of moss and late showers that didn't really amount to much of anything. Until, after miles of dense vegetation, a fantastic new view emerges.
And then that path opened to this clearing where you could just, the mountain ranges just popped up like out of nowhere. Like you couldn't see them while you were walking through the rainforest. And then all of a sudden you're just standing in the valley of these giant mountains surrounding you from all sides. So we've been walking through the rainforest for the last couple of hours. Everything's green and mossy and squishy, and then we walked into this valley and it just completely opened up, and you can see the small waterfalls on all the cliffs, and now we have a very magnificent view of a glacier that's we're getting ready to walk towards.
I've never fallen.
Dude, he's growing boy.
Huh?
Growing boy. It's a little early for making
It was a great midday stop to lay down on the not yet soaked ground, to grab a quick bite and look into the towering valley where the mountains touched the heavy sky, and rest our legs and eyes, I suppose, before finishing the second part of our hike into the valley and towards the pass. Oh, wait, pause. I want to talk about a bird, the weka. This goofy, flightless bird that acts and looks a lot like a more fit and curious chicken can be found all through the trek, crisscrossing paths, and are mostly observed as brown in the valley and black at higher elevations, though I'm not sure why. The point is, a lot of folks confuse wekas for kiwis. We even ran into a couple thinking they saw a kiwi, but when they showed us the picture, we knew it was a weka. We didn't say anything. Although kiwis are around the trek, they didn't show up for us. Anyway, while Kelly snoozed, just wanted to share.
Alex, are you filming me?
The cloud cover's getting pretty intense, and we are supposed to get monsoon rains in a few hours, so we're gonna pack up and keep going.
The valley was truly unreal, and the cold temps and late rain were keeping some of the more intense sandflies away, leaving us to meander around the basin and explore all the side paths.
So we're a little bit more than halfway through our hike on day 2. Just stopped to go see Hidden Lake. It was very neat. Little tiny drop off, or little tiny pull off to go see a lake with some nice reflections of the mountain. The rain is starting to come in though, so hopefully it doesn't get too much harder for a while, but I don't know, I feel we're starting to push our luck.
One of the interesting features in the valley is the many rock scars caused by rock slides, which you see here and throughout the trek. The huge amount of precipitation and huge shift in temperatures can destabilize the mountain. How do you like that for production value?
We have about 4 miles yet ahead of us until we get to our next hut.
We had a few hours of walking through the Clinton Valley before beginning our ascent towards the Mintaro Hut. The path was fairly well developed, with bridges crisscrossing tiny streams, large fields that would offer wide open vistas, and plenty of stuff to see. There was not a lot of shelter from rain, but it was so light it was almost refreshing. But we knew that wouldn't last long, so we made a beeline towards the hut without any more prolonged stops.
The rain has picked up at the end of day 2. We're about 1.5 miles, 2 miles away from Mintaro Hut, and as we turned out of the woods, after going up and down quite a bit, we see a lot of rain, but with a lot of rain came some amazing waterfalls.
The rain was bringing this powerful mountain range alive, with waterfalls transforming the landscape into something new and magical.
And not only are there giant mountains surrounding you from all sides, but there are more waterfalls than you can count. There are so many waterfalls everywhere you turn. And then it started to rain and more waterfalls just popped up out of nowhere, out of creek beds, turned to creeks. I mean, it was just, we saw the whole forest come to life when it started raining, which was a really fun experience.
The rain started just as we began climbing elevation on our way to tonight's destination and began to offer some limited tree cover.
These are the trees which are on the left. One of the 3 trees in the rainforest here, they don't like the algae and the moss growing off of them, so they actually shed them. So you can see the tree trunk. It looks like they're peeling because they're trying to get all that excess moss off at least. So interesting.
The wide open valley gave way to more narrow treks through the forest as we began to climb switchbacks. And this is really where we started to make use of our walking sticks, which helped with the walk and to make sure we didn't slip on the now wet, rocky trail.
The last couple miles were very challenging. Admittedly, I'm not in the shape I should have been to do this trek. But the last 2 miles felt like about 10 miles.
We are just about half a mile away from the end of day 2, and I feel like it was good up to the last 2 miles, and now I'm just exhausted. We are absolutely soaked right now, and it just feels like this last mile is taking as long as the first 12. So listen, we're almost there. I'm sure it'll feel great by the time we're there, but oh my God, am I out of shape right now.
Wait a minute, I had a message from me in case this very moment happened.
This is you 2 months ago getting ready for it, so no complaining, okay?
Well, I guess I knew me pretty good. Well played, me.
My feet felt like I was walking on knives. My legs were cramping up because I didn't drink enough water or take enough vitamins. I kind of blacked out, I will say that. It was really a struggle. I think that I didn't realize quite how much food I needed to eat. So whilst I was like, it was on an incline for the last wee bit that I wasn't expecting. So I was a little bit tired, and I also don't think that I ate enough. And the hut just felt like it was getting further and further away, even though we had been walking towards it. So it was challenging. It was very challenging. It got very, very windy. The weather changed from beautiful and calm and 50 degrees to cold, pouring rain. You're carrying your 30-pound backpacks that are now wet. And so I started to really question my life. But I had some lollies and I was fine. You're just getting more and more fatigued as you climb up a mountain. So it was very challenging. And I trucked up to the top, so it's okay.
I'll admit, as a narrator, it is a bit silly having us complain about this section, but I assure you, our emotions about it were real. The majority of that 680-meter elevation gain happened in the last 2 miles, but it wasn't until we saw that bridge to give us hope that we were finally close. Which, remember, has no heating, but does have water and limited lights. That relief began to set in, and a mixture of dread, for the worst part of the storm was coming the next day.
God, I'm exhausted. Tomorrow's supposed to be worse. What do I do? That's why I was like, what the fuck is this shit? Like once I looked up and saw the waterfalls, I was like, yeah, amazing. And then the rain fell into my eyes. I was like, oh, and I just kept walking. What have I done?
It's spectacular.
Yeah. Oh, it's spectacular. The mountain range is spectacularly wet.
Inside Mintaro Hut, the newest of the huts on the trek, it offered some pretty stellar amenities like gas grills and a lighted common area with a fireplace.
Tomorrow is supposed to be the most challenging day, which I'm a little bit nervous for because today I thought would be somewhat easy and I barely made it. So tomorrow we are hiking literally straight up a mountain and then straight back down a mountain. And then we plan on taking a detour of 3 miles, even though we are hiking 17 kilometers already, to go see the 5th highest waterfall in the world. So that's not a detour that we can miss, but it is a detour that our legs will be making us pay for tomorrow night, but that's tomorrow night's problem.
And with forecasted winds of 80 kilometers an hour and 150 millimeters of rain in the forecast, it was not a sure thing that the Park Service would even let us go the next stop. So we all waited with bated breath as rain hit the roof all night.
Hey everyone, it's day 3 on the Milford Soundtrack. We got the okay to go this morning, even though we had a ton of rain last night, so we're gonna get moving. You can see right now it's raining, and it's gonna be like this the entire day. Fingers crossed that we get to the top of the hill, we have some kind of a view of the sound, because that's why we came all the way out here.
Well, I wouldn't hold my breath, Andrew. After a night of rain and at our high elevation, we were heading right towards the rain clouds, zigzagging up the huge switchbacks towards the peak of Mackinnon Pass. At an elevation of over 1,150 meters and solidly north of the tree line. It was a day where our New Zealand merino wool socks would be put to the test, and the waterproofness of all my cameras would be pushed to the limits. And spoiler, not everything comes out working. We're going to be climbing a lot today. We're going almost at like a 45-degree angle, to feel like, up to the top. We're going to be climbing up to the top of the peak, and then hopefully, if we're not too exhausted, we'll be able to see the 5th biggest waterfall in the world. So that's our goal today. Feeling good right now, even though it's soaking rain, but it's a long day ahead. Hopefully we can keep this energy up. Did I mention 50 times already that everything was turning into a waterfall? Visually beautiful, functionally annoying and dangerous, and often turning the very path we are walking on into a stream or directly into the path of a waterfall. Not the best ideal conditions when we're trying to climb the steepest part of the trail.
Gotta keep swimming, gotta keep swimming. Literally.
Keep swimming, keep swimming. Don't look up, look at Jiffy.
Yeah.
Or it's really sad.
And then one foot after the other.
Swim through the creeks.
It's important to not rush during conditions like this, and utilize your hiking poles to the fullest, ensuring you step on solid rocks and not lose your balance on the edge. And if you ever find yourself starting to wonder why you're doing this, just take a moment to look around. Even though it's not the postcard version you expected, it's nature at its finest, and it feels like you're part of that story.
Wow. The whole mountain's a waterfall.
A few hundred meters shy of the pass gives awesome views, but leaves you fully exposed to the elements. And the higher we get, the closer we get to those peak winds topping out at 80 kilometers per hour, tropical storm force winds. As we switch from climbing up the side to the spine of the mountain before heading down the other side.
Well, we got to the top, and now in addition to the rain and being soaking wet, walking through water, we gotta worry about the wind, and it is getting really windy.
The wind and rain blowing in our faces reduced visibility and left us pretty much only able to communicate via pointing, going from one marker to the next to ensure we didn't get lost.
We're past the tree line, so there's nothing stopping it at this point. It's gonna be windy from here to the bottom. There we go, ready?
We hoped beyond hope that after 2.5 days, miles of hiking, and years of planning, we'd get at least a brief glimpse of the valley. But it wasn't looking great.
Holy crap, it is windy right now.
As we walked along the edge, we saw some reason for a little optimism, with foggy outlines of the valley below seen through the stormy clouds. And as we walked towards the very peak of the pass, at the highest point we hit on the trail, we saw the slightest amount of clearing in the clouds. That means we might get a view.
What?
We'd walk to the edge and get a shockingly clear view of the valley below. A double reason to celebrate.
We made it to the top! Woo!
Kleine Fusche. Kleine Fusche Ask. What's Kleine Füße sind Arschkalt. Kleine Füße sind Arschkalt.
We're here at Mackinnon Pass Shelter. We just spent about 3 hours hiking up the side of a mountain. It rained so much overnight that the trail itself was basically one big waterfall. and I gave up at some point. I gave up trying to keep my feet dry, and so we're just very, very soaked and very happy to be up here.
After waiting 30 minutes to see the peak of the mountain, we jump back in to get soaked.
This sucks! We're not fun, we paid to be here! Sir, I want a hot tub and some hot cocoa!
Although it was still raining, once we began heading down into the lush valley, the wind receded a bit, and the cloud cover lifted just enough to be able to peer into the valley and see the massive waterfalls we'd about to be walking through. We got a chance to look back and get a clear view of the Milford Pass.
Near the top of the trail, I ran into a Kia, which is an alpine parrot, the only alpine parrot in the world. Apparently, they are quite tricky or trickstery. You leave your gear outside, it might disappear thanks to a tricky Kia.
With the peak of the Milford behind us, all that lay ahead of us was the waterlogged valley. What went up must come down.
The hardest part of the day was going downhill. Most of the morning was uphill. The second half of the day, once we got over Mackinnon Pass, was coming back downhill. And that seems a little counterintuitive, except it is really tough on your knees. The hiking poles were absolutely clutch. But yeah, my knees now are very sore.
When you're in a storm on a one-way hike with no cell service or a backup plan, there's really only one thing to do.
Embrace the suck!
So beautiful, but this would be better if it was sunny.
And then the hike down was very slippery. We basically walked in a whole river for the last 4 hours or so.
The way down didn't even feel like a trail per se. It felt like walking in a creek. And after getting completely soaked, walking through waterfalls wasn't even fazing us. It was as if we were experiencing a bonus level of the hike, only reserved for those that can endure the craziest of weather. Even watching the waterfalls sometimes get blown away before reaching the bottom made us feel like we were dreaming.
I gave up trying to keep my shoes dry because there was just so much water coming from above, from the trees. The path, the track itself was just one big waterfall that there was no point in trying to stay dry. We just walked straight in the middle of it.
Right down the center. I went to there, to there, to there. Okay, you got that rock, then the one on the right.
Walking through the waterfalls it's super slippery. And at that point, you are so wet, it doesn't matter anymore. You have a whole swimming pool in your shoes and you're just whatever.
Sometimes we cross over streams, sometimes we walk in the stream.
In the beginning, you try to just tiptoe around each little puddle of water, and in the end, you just go for it. It really doesn't matter anymore at that point.
Remember the river from yesterday? Boy, times have changed.
With nearly a foot of rain in less than 24 hours, even the calm streams of yesterday flowed like Niagara and rushed with us down the hill into the valley. But as we entered the wooded area, our path took a more gradual climb down, and the rain started to slow a bit. The worst of the storm was over.
So have you noticed that the video quality is a little lower today? I just don't want to have all my camera equipment break because it's been raining the entire time. I think I already probably busted my Osmos, so I'm filming on an iPhone today. So hopefully you don't mind. Still looks good. Still doing the hike, I promise you. Just not as, HD as it was the other couple days.
It was just waterlogged, but it was totally worth it. And the craziest part of the day was over, and now all that was left is miles of gradual decline through the forest. Oh, and one of the largest waterfalls on the globe, supercharged from the storm, for anyone that wanted another 2-mile detour.
Everyone in my group thought they saw enough waterfalls today, and I can't blame them. But I got here so far, and I figured 45 minutes, hour-and-a-half round trip. Let's just go check it out. I'll probably regret it, but in a week from now, I probably won't, so let's go see the one of the biggest waterfalls in the world.
I didn't blame much the group skipping this, but as the lone traveler who did it, I'm glad I did. I mean, me in the future says that. I complained to myself a lot then.
Oh my God, it switchbacks the whole way up. After 9 miles, it's not the first thing I wanted to do in my water-soaked pants, but if you're watching this, I'm doing this for you. I'm just kidding, I'm doing it for me. I just don't know it yet.
Man, I'm so whiny. How can I whine when I get to see this?
Well, I made it to the base of Sutherland Falls. It is enormous. Look at that thing. Oh my God. And I'm soaking wet right now. I have to go back to 45 minutes plus another hour to get to the hut. But oh my God, was it worth it? I'm getting soaked even more, but really, can I get any more wet today? Amazing. What's amazing about the waterfalls, it sounds almost like thunder because there's so much power behind it. There's so much water dropping by such a long distance that it just, listen to that. I mean, it's like constant thunder. That is some powerful stuff.
It's a bit hard to hear it over my wet iPhone speakers, but I assure you, it was like a violent thunderstorm.
All right, so if you're coming out here, even after a day where it's soaking wet and you've seen every waterfall you think you can see, it's worth a detour. I'm gonna rub this into the 3 other people I was traveling with, and yeah, awesome.
With Sutherland Falls behind us, all that was left for the day was my now solo hike back to Dumpling Hut. But with the power of editing, we'll just skip right to it and move past all the wet trails.
Finally, the clouds cleared up. We had beautiful, not sunshine, but at least a little bit of a glimpse of clouds that opened up for us. So we saw like all the waterfalls coming down in the mountain range, which is very, very beautiful.
Our powerless huts felt like stepping into a 4-star hotel today.
It was, I'm not gonna lie, it was a tough day. But yeah, now it's nice to see the mountain range, it's nice to sleep here at night, so.
Just being able to stop moving, play some games, and see some rays of sunshine after today were the best feeling on earth. So I had to wake up in the middle of the night to use the restroom, and when I looked up, I saw some absolutely stunning night sky. A nice time-lapse at night, seeing the stars for the first time this trip, was a great last night on the trek. All that was ahead now was an 18-kilometer, 11-mile hike to Sandfly Point, where we'll catch a boat back off the trek. We awoke with everyone attempting to dry their clothes, but finding them just damp and cold. Nothing like wet clothes to start a day.
Okay, so we're about to kick off day 4, which is our last day on the Milford Track. Today's hike will be comparatively very easy to the 2 prior days that we've had. We have about 12 miles, most of it's flat, and it's just going to go through some fields and valleys and through some mountain trails, but it's relatively flat. So we're excited to get back and take a hot shower and eat a hot meal that doesn't come in a bag. So come with us.
The landscape around us barely looked like it just had a massive multi-day rainstorm. In an area that gets 7 meters of rain a year, it felt like our adventure was just a blip. The thick, mossy bed of the forest absorbed much of the water, and the valleys did an amazing job at jettisoning the water off to the sea. It was gearing up to be our nicest weather of the trek, and if you watch a video of a group just 1 day behind us, it'd be a completely different story. And I think that's one of the things that makes the Milford Track so special. Your story might involve the same views, but your experience will always be different. We were determined to finish our story strong and enjoy these last 11 miles before catching the 3:30 boat out.
So there's this big mushroom that's growing out of this moss-covered tree, and it is just massive. And the mushrooms here in this forest are parasites, so it actually sucks nutrient from the tree, unlike the moss, which is self-sustaining.
The sun added so much to this day. We were able to see the mountaintops for the first time since day one. And since we got up early, it was our first time seeing the sunrise over the trek, which perfectly hit the river for a terrific view, and really made our whole hike sparkle and gave our tired bodies the boost of dopamine needed to power through in our wet, gross clothes to the end. And helped us warm up a bit so it was a little bit more bearable.
I am standing right outside of Bell Rock, which is a rock that is completely hollow inside, which was caused by erosion over hundreds of thousands of years, presumably. But if you walk inside, it's completely hollow. Kind of looks like the inside of a snail shell. But more impressively, behind me, or behind you, is this magnificent waterfall.
Okay, let's pause it again here. I got a story about this waterfall. Remember this huge waterfall, Sutherland Falls? Well, it's named after, unsurprisingly, Donald Sutherland. And no, not that Donald Sutherland, but an early explorer of the Fjordland National Park. And, as legend has it, he actually got that fall named after him because he lost a bet with this man, John MacKay. As the story goes, they were both hiking when they came upon these falls and flipped a coin on who could name it. John won and named it after himself. But the arrangement meant that the next waterfall would be named after who lost the toss, which was Sutherland. So Donald lost, but really won the long game. So chalk this up to a win for Donald with a pretty nice consolation falls named for MacKay. Okay, let's get back to the falls. The MacKay Falls would be one of the last major milestones before Sandfly Point. It was one of our big must-dos of the day. It was pretty much a beeline along the way to the end as we hiked along the Arthur River and Lake Ada.
So we're standing on the ledge of a very high cliff. I have no idea how high it is, but if I wanted to guess, I'd say like a few hundred feet at least. Can you imagine doing this yesterday? Well, the cliff right there?
You would be so.
I would have been so scared.
With the elements cooperating, the biggest adversity we faced were our own bodies, which were getting pretty beat up and tired after days of carrying heavy, wet backpacks with everything we needed, including our very wet clothes.
We put the hiking poles under the backpack, and it's a kickstand. It lifts the weight off your shoulders, and then you just let your hands dangle, and you get the whole stretch of your legs. It's great, guys. You should try it. It's so nice.
You've probably noticed that I have a bit less interviews with everybody today. We took today to focus more about what was around us. I had to get to the boat by late afternoon, so we had a lot less time to relax and reflect. Of course, if you see a crystal clear river that even the park rangers drink from, it's probably okay to stop, soak it in, and fill up your empty water bottle for a quick swig. It's good. That last full bottle of water would hopefully be the last push we need to get to the end of the trail and finish the trek.
Finishing strong. As strong as I can. Slightly above a granny pace.
I can barely speak right now. We are in the last half mile, and I tell you, I feel every one of those steps I'm taking between now and Sandfly Point. I'm feeling all 33 miles right now in my legs and my shoulders, so we're clear to the finish line. Weather has been great today. And boy, what a trail.
The Milford Track is as much about the beautiful area as it is about discovering something about yourself. After 4 days and 3 nights, 30 plus miles, countless waterfalls, and waterlogged feet.
I'm gonna take a nap for like a week.
You realize that, taking one step at a time, it's not that bad. Whether or not this is the greatest hike on earth doesn't really matter. It is what you make it. The weather was never ideal, but it's the adversity you overcome that often leaves you with the biggest memories. And as we reach Sandfly Point, peering into the mighty Fjordland National Park, memories start to solidify. Just like most things in life, from 10,000 feet, it might seem daunting. But when you zoom in, you realize you just have to take it one step at a time.
Thanks for watching. I hope you liked the adventure and it inspires you to take some of your own. If you want more, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button and check out some more from my channel. Thanks.